And it's Friday and we are back. Good afternoon, everybody. Kaza, as you can see, we now have a countdown, all in honour of you. Welcome. And Reverend Tony, hello, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm very well, thank you. Very well. All the better for being here on a Friday afternoon.
I know. I'll tell you what, the weather has taken a bit of a turn round here. I don't know about you, but as Mother points out there, it's very wet and windy in Mainly, where she's gone for a little jaunt this weekend. But yes, it's bloody cold, if the truth be told.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
it
there
is
we go.
here.
What's it like?
It is.
It is there. Yeah. Well, you're more north, so it's bound to be. You know, it does get colder the higher up you climb.
It does,
Um,
yes,
gets a
indeed.
bit gets a bit drafty round the gussets. But
Oh, there we are.
we're back. I think we were rather well behaved last week, so I think that needs to change.
Yeah, yeah.
But so, what have you been up to, young man?
It's been a busy week. We met up with a friend who's come over from Colorado. To she's going on a cruise, but she's going from Southampton, so she's had a few days in our vicinity. So we went out for a meal and spent a few hours, and then dropped her off at her friends, and it was lovely catching up.
Excellent stuff.
Yes.
Excellent
How
stuff.
about you? I've seen your face on Facebook many times this week.
Get about, darling, don't I? Yeah. Circles, workshops. Obviously, it's the double ender for SPTV this week. Um, sorry. Um, the double show because we're on a Monday and a Wednesday. So it has been rather hectic, and of course, testing new tech in church last night. We finally have working microphones. Oh, mon ami. But yes, so it's been good, and of course, I finally got my deck. It
Yeah,
was Mum's birthday present to me, and I finally got the tarot deck, which is cool. I've been having a play with them. Um, but yes, other than that, preparing to see you lovely people here today, and having a good old yarn and a catch up with my mate Tony, um,
fabulous.
which has been it's been a long time coming, dear, and of course, only a few weeks we'll be meeting up again in the flesh.
We
Uh,
will. We will.
that's actually going to be a really, really busy week uh, uh, here in Chateau Delnick, because the same week we've got an ordination. I've got a demo. I'm coming to see you guys up at your church up your way. So it's really gonna be one of them weeks where I'm gonna be having lots of caffeine and keeping
Yes,
myself going.
yes,
Uh,
yes. Yes, as you should, because
yeah.
those weeks get you. They really do. They
And
really
you
do.
know what? That's a really, really important point. And actually, I recently I am going to give them a plug. I recently joined a new spiritual group to me, new to me. It's been there a while, don't get me wrong, but new to me spiritual group that combines two of my top three favorite things in the universe. Uh, one of which that isn't included is science fiction. You can work out the other two if you like. I don't care. But there's a really, really spiritual community that's right up my alley. Um, that has been talking of difficult times and how to get through them, and it really is a wonderful, warm and inviting place. And anyone of a persuasion should go along and join it. And I will
Yes.
link it on my Facebook page actually because I think they deserve a promote. A really, really welcoming brunch and a really, really excellent combination of all different kinds of spiritualities. And I'm not just talking the spiritual, but all forms of spirituality from old religions to new religions to different ways of thinking. It is such a warm and refreshing place to be. So I will link that on my page because I've already sent you an invite.
Yes,
So
I filled in the last question that I missed.
yeah,
I'm just waiting for my approval.
yes, it's not for everyone. I will
No,
say it's
no.
not for everyone, but for those that would be interested, it's a really really great place to be. But moving from that, of course, another great place to be, of course, is on Spiritline with the Two Revs and the wonderful, wonderful group of people that make up those all watching. So, shall we say a few
We
hello?
should. Let's go back down to
Yeah,
the
we should.
bottom.
I know it's the one thing I found that's a little bit off-putting. The only thing that I found that's a bit difficult at the moment is that our chat screen goes from top to bottom, but the one on the screen goes from bottom to top
Yes,
in
yes,
terms of flow.
yes.
But of course, we did get a count in from the lovely, well, I would say Kazza White, but it looks like Michael McIntyre's on there because the
Yeah,
YouTube logo covers up poor Kazza. But it is, of
yeah,
course, Kazza giving us our countdown and getting us to go. So, hello, Kazza, my darling. And let me just get
yes.
to where the next one is. There we
And
go.
it's our Daryl. Hi, Daryl.
Hi,
Nice to
hi,
see
hi.
you.
Gotta give a big shout out to Mama B herself, Mother Brown. Hello,
Yep,
darling.
yep. And then we have Christine. Hi, Christine. Like the big smiley face at the end there.
Definitely. And of course, we've got the wonderful Eunice. Hello, my darling. And we are, of course, thinking of you and sending our thoughts to you and yours.
And there
So,
we've got Sherry Ann.
oh, mon chéri, chérien, bonjour, mes amis, et
Toot.
toutes,
Fabulous.
toutes,
Toot, toot,
toutes,
sweet.
toutes, toutes sweet. There's the lovely Daniel Carnelton. Hello, young man. Hope you are well.
Won't be long till Daniel's back up in our neck of the woods.
Hey,
And Jen Stevenson, hi. We are both fine and on good form, as you can tell.
we do our best. We do our best. Good question, Kaza. Are you the only one on YouTube? At the moment, yes, commenting anyway. I couldn't say for definite whether you're the only one actually on it because we don't know where you are until you actually comment. I feel kind of lonely over here, bless you. This
Oh,
is the point of having that wonderful chat box on the side so everyone can see you commenting. But of course, we are broadcasting. Here we go. Here comes the drum roll. Oh, no, there we go. You're not alone. You are not alone. She is here with you. They are here with you. So you got Ryan Trundle. Um, oh, it's Kai. Hello, Kai. Yes, I should know Ryan Trundle by now. So yeah, you are not alone because Kai is with you, my darling. So there are at least two of you on YouTube. But of course, here comes the drum rolly bit. And hello, Kai. Of course, we are broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube. We are transmitting through my page, through Tony's page, both on Facebook and YouTube, and my other YouTube channel. Oh, Kaz has gone to Facebook. But yeah, you've got also my other YouTube page now, which is the continuity. Follow the logo. It's in the logo. So I've got the continuity page, and yeah, we're actually today we are broadcasting to, and I can list it, my YouTube page and my continuity page and my personal Facebook page. Plus, we're also broadcasting to Tony Swindells YouTube and Tony Swindells Medium on Facebook. So we've got 5 different channels, and you're all able to communicate with each other through this wonderful, wonderful chat box down here, which I think is awesome. And we did listen to feedback last week, so the background isn't as wibbly wobbly, tiny whiny. And it's a little bit brighter too. We remembered, of course, didn't we, when we were talking, that our theme used to be kind of like yellow and orange.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so we've kind of caught back up and tied in on that. So it's good to see everyone here. It's good to see the numbers increasing as you all come in and say hello. So hello to you all. We've kind of caught up with the hellos now. So the question would be, what do you want to talk about today? Yeah, the background made me seasick. Uh, it is quite funny, and you can see here what we didn't mention last week, and we were talking about afterwards. Is there's no Facebook users on this
Yes.
chat. Um,
Oh,
I'm back
sorry.
to
I've just had a realization. Daniel's on my page, but all the comments are coming through yours.
oh, are they?
That's why there were no viewers on my page, because it lumps them all together.
It lumps them all together, right? And that makes more sense. That
So they
makes
think
more.
there's nobody watching on my feed, but of course, no. It's
Yeah,
hosted
it's
on my page, but it's your feed.
gotcha. So that's why it all got lumped in. That's why it's all being compressed in. So you are all together after all.
You are. Bless you.
All lumped in one group. And we were talking, weren't we? There's no Facebook user problem anymore. We know who you are, and we know where you're from, and we will find you.
You'll hunt you down.
And I'm just going to dip into my settings because I have been obviously reminded and informed that everything's back to front my end. So there we go.
So I
So
sorted myself out last week. Switched it round. Because somebody did comment that my Adidas logo was back to front. So.
yes, absolutely. It's showing I'm on next. Yeah. So the system that we're now using, Daniel, it's different. We were.
Kaza.
We can flip. We could.
I'm easy.
We like a nice flip flop, don't we, darling? Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. It's. I can't even remember what I was going to say now.
It was
It's new
about
system.
Daniel and
Yeah, Daniel. Yes. It's a new system, so everything's kind of pipelined, and although it doesn't show separate connections, good because we're all one. So it also yeah, so now we're all no longer, see, you got the blame and I was,
it wasn't me, it was Kaza.
yeah, plus I don't think there are many people online who actually know what flip flop means.
No, maybe not.
Maybe we should leave that one there. Oh dear, we are going to have a good one.
It is.
Yes, better screen, spread the side to side image of your good selves. Yeah, because if we do the side by side, we get compressed. Now, I don't know about you, but on a Friday afternoon, I like to undo the belt and spread out of it.
Yeah, me too.
So we've got more space to ourselves. But if we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
Of course, Daryl. But yes, if we so fit, and if you get bored of looking up and down in a different angle, we can always just do a quick swap.
Yeah,
It's easy
yeah.
to do. It's just click and drag. Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about that a lot this week. Context. Context is everything. See, the problem with having the chats on the side. See, this is why I feel the right direction. The problem with having it on the side, oh
Yeah.
dear God, is that we can't hide from the comments anymore. Those that we think, oh, we
We
better
could
walk
just
away from that
we
one.
we could just ignore it, couldn't we, and let it slip?
Yeah.
But when it's there on the screen, you can't. So yeah. Oh, you hope to meet me in a couple of weeks, Jen Stevenson.
Yes. she's going to be passing very close by you and then coming down to Littleport.
Oh, cool.
So yes, it's going to be like I said, it's going to be a really busy week, but I cannot personally wait. Um,
Exciting.
I've got to remember, of course, that my mum was watching too, so I've got to be a good boy now. Where do you
Bit
think
late.
I got it from?
I
Where
was
do you
going to
think?
say it's a bit late now, Nick.
Yeah, yeah, true
you're,
enough.
you're in the 27 years she's known you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you good boy. You good boy. If you weren't already on top, I'd put you there. Um, I was talking in terms of ranking, of course.
Yes, yes.
Wayne, hello, mate. And no, absolutely no problem at all. We do love celebrating birthdays as part of the service. It's just something which we do. As Eunice actually said, it's a tradition that we sing people happy birthday when it's their birthday close by the service. And it was actually Wayne's missus's birthday last night, so that worked out rather well.
Cool.
Um, it's exciting to be back and just getting my head back into spiritual mode. If there is any topic of conversation that you want us to discuss today, to talk about, to be the theme of the day, we've obviously mentioned a few themes of the week already. But if you've got a question, um, now is the time to ask it and save me from
And
answering the last question.
not that one.
And not that, and
not,
not that,
not,
not that one.
not that one. Not that one, wherever it is there. No.
So
But
yes, spiritual matters, spiritual questions, anything you want to talk about. June is almost upon us. Come on, where has the time gone?
I know, 6 months down, just about. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Absolutely crazy.
crazy for feeling so lonely. Um, Speaking of time passing by, we had somebody return to church last night, who hasn't been in a while, been busy living their life, doing their thing. As I always say, that's what matters most. But everyone always ends up coming back, and it was really, really good to see her last night, Mandy, who was one of the
Oh,
original
yeah.
Healing Circle. So she came back, and then we had Mandy, current Mandy, who did our reading last night, which tied in beautifully well. I've got to share this story actually as kind of a Kickstarter, because it was such an experience. Mandy's never done the reading before, and we were talking afterwards. And I can't remember who said what exactly, so I'll give you kind of a potted version. But as I went up to her with the second microphone, look at us, all techie geek, to connect her up, ready to do the reading after I'd done the address, she just stood there with eyes ablazing and said, it really does tie in. And the last few minutes I was speaking the philosophy, I could see her beaming and as if to say, "Oh, I know where this is going," and everything. Afterwards, we were talking. It's really, really easy. It's really, really easy to think when it ties in as well as it does. And of course, I'm talking about the philosophy and the reading that's given, poetry, nice words, whatever. It's really easy sometimes when it ties in so beautifully to think perhaps, maybe there's a little bit of collaboration going on. Maybe you're
Yeah,
picking
yeah.
a word and then picking. Mandy was absolutely aware that she hadn't told me and I hadn't heard anything about that reading that she was going to give. And so, as I start speaking and she starts listening, she had a unique and different perspective last night because she was sitting there listening to what Spirit was saying through me as part of the philosophy and seeing that image and that story build up, being the only one in the room fully aware of what she was going to be reading. And so she saw how it worked in that progression, in that development of how spirit actually work. And a lot of the times people forget that as far as I am, as the medium standing up there about to do the philosophy, um, I'm as much in the dark as anyone. I might have a theme in my head that they're kicking me off with. Um, but I don't know where that journey is going to progress either, and I just allow them to talk through me. You do a lot of philosophy as well, Tony. How do
Yeah.
you are you do you have an end game in mind, or is it
No.
literally just here's your first words, get on with it? How do you work?
I never plan philosophy. I mean, when I was first learning and developing, I did jot a few bits down on a piece of paper just in case I dried up. But I think it should be the word of spirit and the word of God. So I get up with a blank mind, and as I always do, and just let spirit speak and
Yeah,
see what happens. I'll sometimes get, if there's a hymn that particularly struck me at the beginning of a church service, or I'll start with that and start talking about, oh, that's really meaningful for me because, and start talking, and then spirit take over and just get on with it. And it's but now I believe it should be as much from spirit as a message is during the night. It's got to be the word of spirit. It's their chance to give us teaching and growth and everything else. And for me, the philosophy is the message for everybody in that church or centre or wherever you are. And there are people that come up and say, I know I didn't get a message, but what you said in philosophy meant a lot because I've had this going on this week and that, and you know.
yeah.
So yeah, I never plan it. I just get up and see where spirit wants it to go.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's funny, really, because there are, and it sounds like you have the same thing. There are these little triggers the day of a service. So for me, it's always going to be a Thursday in particular, especially doing what I call the A about T philosophy reading scenario. And I will talk about that, and you can share your thoughts on that as well, and see what everyone else thinks. That there's you hear the same phrases and the same sentence that resonates with you throughout the day. And yes, when there's hymns, sometimes it will pop up in a hymn, and many different churches do have the reading first, so you do get led a little bit by anything that pops up in there as well. But it's always ah,
Yeah, it is
you know,
really like, oh yeah, that's why
yeah,
I've been hearing that all day.
yeah. So they do set you up with the information that you need to do that philosophy.
Yeah,
Um, Interesting question there from Cherry. Tony. Tony, is it like words dropping into your mind?
it's a bit like it's how I work with spirit now. It's clairsentience. It's just, it's as if my mouth is 5 seconds ahead of my mind, and the words are coming out, and I'm not even thinking about what's happening. So I'll sometimes have a topic that I feel strongly about, something that might have happened in the week that I think I really want to talk about that if I go live during the week or whatever I'm doing. And I will start talking about that. But again, it's me that starts the conversation, and then spirit step in and take over, and it just goes. And it's, yeah, but it's like somebody else is using my mouth to do the talking. That's
Yeah,
how it works with me at the minute, which is
yeah,
pretty scary when it first happens to you.
yeah. And it does. I don't know what you think, but it does go along the lines of claircognizance.
Yes, yeah,
One thing I've noticed watching people work and listening to people work is that those that tend to do philosophy more tend to find that they fall into claircognizance with their mediumship.
yes.
Um,
It's
a,
probably the
a,
word I was looking for as opposed to sentience, but yes.
well, no, because I think that there's that there too, actually, because you feel that impression, that emotion. You know, for me, when it's claircognizance, I don't actually feel anything. I just start yakking and suddenly it's there. But when it's coming through clairsentience, I'm taking that emotional
Yeah,
journey with it,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
very often in terms of what we're saying, the things that have bugged us throughout the week. I'm going to say something about that. And sometimes that's not always a good thing.
No, no.
But I was talking to someone before the service and they was mentioning how their week had been, and it kind of tracked with what I'd been shown. Um, and because it tracked, it was like, okay, I know I've got to talk about this. The one thing that we tend to do, and I did say I would briefly mention it, the one thing we tend to do at Littleport on a Thursday is that I don't see very often is because, as you all know, I love philosophy, sometimes too much. But I think philosophy deserves um, more proof in terms of what mental mediumship gets. And so, in order to do that, we actually flip the order of service around. So, most churches will have the reading followed by the philosophy. Well, if spirit are in charge and we can prove that, we flip it round. So we have the philosophy and then the reading. And that's what Mandy was talking about, that experience of, oh my God, it is spirit driven. It is spirit driven because it's that proof, isn't it?
It is. It is absolutely. And funnily enough, I was in a centre once, and I'd been talking to the chairperson who was chairing for me, and I said, "Oh, Littleport do it different to you. They have the philosophy first, and then the reading to see if they connect. Because if spirit are in charge of tonight's service, they will connect the philosophy and the reading." And she said, "Sally, sit down. You're doing the reading after Tony's philosophy." And it was wonderful because I could see this lady in the front row reading the piece she was going to read after I was talking, whilst I was talking, and she was going,
Yeah.
and it did. It just blended beautifully.
Yeah.
Oh, Mum's asked an interesting one.
Yes. And I've starred another one.
Good, good.
Just on claircognizance, I will come to Kaza. I work with claircognizance and found myself write more poems than I thought I'd ever do. Yeah, because I don't know about you, Tony, but just on claircognizance, once you're used to it, once you recognize it, it's probably the easiest sense in your arsenal to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're first getting used to it and when it first starts manifesting, it's like, where did that come from? What the am I doing? You know, it's
Yeah,
really, really weird. But once you get used to it and start trusting it, boom, as Jane would say.
yeah. You just stand there. You get this impression coming over you, and then it's happening, and you don't really, as a medium, you don't really have a lot to do in that sense. It's just let spirit do what they do, but that
Yeah,
takes a lot of trust on behalf of the medium,
yeah,
because if there's a guide working with me who's naughty and likes to try and push things a little bit, you haven't got that level of control as much, but they all seem to behave themselves.
yes,
I've never had an issue yet. Touch hairy wood with that. But yeah, because there are a couple of my guides who like to um, down boy, who like to just see if they can get a bit of a naughty word coming out, but
yeah,
not never happened yet. Never happened yet.
yeah.
But
Gonna
I
say
get what you're saying,
sometimes.
Kaza. In terms of inspiration, it's you let spirit take charge, and it's the same as, I suppose, free writing,
Yeah,
spirit writing. Just
yeah,
follow a stream of consciousness and see where it goes.
absolutely. We all know where the stream's going today. Um, So I hope that helps, Cherry. Obviously, you did reply and said that that's confirmation, but you know, all these little things they do add up in
Yeah.
terms of understanding of what we are doing. Linda's question, Mother, How long do you think a message should take in a church service?
I have two views on this, and it's for me, a message should be as long as it needs to be for the sitter and the spirit person that you're working with, but you don't want it to be half an hour.
Yeah.
What I tend to do is, say I was in Littleport and a message was coming through, and it was really needed, and I could feel the emotion between the sitter and the spirit. I would give a decent message, 5-ish, 10 minutes, but then I would say, Mr. Chair, is it all right if I speak to this person afterwards, because there's a lot more to do, and I can't do it from the platform, because it's not good. That's where it becomes a private sit-in. But
Yes.
a message should be what it needs to be for the person who's receiving the message, because it might be the first time that spirit person's come through, or that person might be having a really, really rubbish time in their life and might need that bit of love and bit of attention from the platform and from the world of spirit, and you need that wraparound hug from spirit, and you've got to give it. I don't like these courses that people do where it's your philosophy must be 10 minutes and 15 seconds, and your reading should be no more than 4.5 to 5 minutes, and we will cut you off, or we will deduct points if you've run over, and blah 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 blah. No, I'm sorry. I had a lady in a church, and her son came through who had died within the last 8 months, and it was a very needed message. I was quite happy. I would have been happy to stand there for the full hour and 10 minutes of the service speaking to that lady because she needed it. I didn't. And I just said to her, like I said, Madam Chair, would you mind if I talk to this lady afterwards, because I could be here all night. She needs it. He needs to say it. So, yeah. And sorry if that upsets some chair people in churches, but a message is what a message is.
Yeah.
End of.
I'll be honest with you, I completely agree. I'm glad you mentioned about courses and things setting times and deadlines. It goes back to what we were saying about the philosophy. Spirit are in charge. So spirit will decide. And, it's very easy to look at people and think they've got it all together and they're fine, because some people are really, really good at covering up that they're not doing well.
No.
That there's lots going on and that their head is buzzing. Some people not so good at covering it up and will go bang when their worry pot is full. But I think it's oh, Trudy, hello. It's so true that the lower down in emotions that you sink, the better you get at covering it up. And so people can come across as being really together with it, happy, fine, in all good part. But actually, they are in that moment where they are at their lowest. And if spirit decide, I'm going to take 20 minutes with that person to make sure that they can come back next week, then that's exactly what spirit will do. And as far as I'm concerned, spirit are in charge. I will be honest, as a chair, I like to look at how mediums work and work out a rough average of how long they take.
Yeah, I've seen you do this.
And then I know when to say, oh, 15, 10 minutes left. I'm also one of the mediums that I absolutely hate the most because I don't have an average time. Sometimes it will 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's what spirit wants matters. And perfect example. Actually, I have seen times where a medium will finish with someone and then move away from them, only to go straight back to them. It's happened a couple of times recently. I happen to know, because of my connections to those individuals, that they are so in desperate need of messages right now that it's unreal. So it's spirit's way of saying, look, we've moved on, but we haven't gone. we're still here. You know,
Yeah,
you will upset the apple cart just to make sure that you get that message. So
yeah,
I think it's very much dependent upon the situation, the
yeah.
media, the service, and the needs of the recipient at the end of the day. And
And
I don't go in for timing it.
no, but you will find, and I know you will have found this as well, Nick, if somebody's receiving a real, genuinely, badly needed message from a medium that's running on to 10 minutes plus, the audience sits stock still and listen to the medium. When a
Yeah,
and I'm not disrespecting, I hope, anybody in particular or any mediums, when they're padding and reiterating and reiterating a point and going over it and then reiterating it again and going over it again, then you get the
yeah,
in the crowd. That's the difference. That's the
absolutely,
difference. And
absolutely.
yeah, that's where that limiting, I think, came from originally. But you can't do that. You can't. It's yeah. You just can't set a limit on how much time a person needs with their loved one from spirit.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We've had a flurry of incomers. Hello, cousin Ruth. Hello, Crystal, Elizabeth, and Paul and Luke. Hello, we're good, thank you.
Hello.
Um, so I did say hi to Trudy. Um, I have got another comment from Daniel actually starred, but I just want to dip in briefly because I think it ties in with everything we're doing so far about the needs and wants of spirit. And I completely agree with you. I have nothing else to add in terms of how you covered that last question because I'm with you. So Linda agrees. I quite agree. You know, good. Um,
Good.
Kaza just popped in relation to what we were talking about before.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So with all the other clairs, I want to start seeing and hearing. How do I start to introduce the other clairs into my mediumship readings? Speaking as someone who is aware of your development, you already are. You just possibly don't recognize it because it's making use of those guided meditations we do and recognizing the similarity and the feeling of that and then start doing those meditations and those visualizations with your eyes open. So it's really, really easy for some people, not easy for everybody, to sit with eyes closed and picture a room, picture a table, picture a chair, picture someone coming and sitting down next to it, asking them. That is actually clairvoyance. Hearing their answer, that is clairaudience because it's clear hearing and clear seeing. But you will, for the most part, I know there are individuals that do, and may they be blessed, they're amazing. But for the most part, you will never see and hear spirit whilst you are working as clearly as you see that recipient sitting in front of you or that chair beside you. It will always be an overlap and a slight difference. There are times when they will come raging in like a bull in a china shop, and you will not realize that it was spirit, but that's usually when it's for you and about you. For when you're working, most people will tend to have this kind of overlapping silhouette style view and hear from there rather than hear from there.
Yeah,
And so, with the meditations that you've been doing in the time that you've been developing, you actually have been exercising your seeing and hearing. The trick now is to have your eyes open and see the room, see the table, see the chair, see the person come sit in, and have it kind of overlapping. And the way I describe it is have it kind of overlapping and over here in your mind's eye, but with your eyes open. So it's kind of projected onto the physical world around you. What are your thoughts, Tony?
exactly that. Exactly that. Sometimes I do see people almost like they are physical, but that tends to be when I'm not working, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like I was on holiday and we were sat in our cottage, which was on the top, and the next cottage was down. So the car park was here, and this old couple were taking their luggage up and down to their cottage and unpacking and stuff. And I could see this little girl running up and down behind them. And I said to
Yeah.
Michael, should I go and tell them that their daughter or their granddaughter's skipping about behind them because she's there, bless her? And he's like, no, maybe if we get to know them in the week, you know. But she was physical. I could see her. She was there. But when I'm working, it's like you say, it's as if you're dreaming while you're awake with your eyes open. It's like an image in your head projected over the top of what the audience congregation you're looking at.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's that little voice back here somewhere that whispers in and you know, tell them I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've just made me remember a song which is a good theme tune for it. What a day for a daydream.
Yeah.
I'm dreaming like a daydreaming boy. So yeah, it is very much transferring it from sleep dream to daydream, and it's that kind of thing. And you know what? Absolutely yes, we will do that as the exercise. It's not something that I can purely guide you because it is about practice and over time pushing. So that's what I will. That's what I will start guiding you towards, working more with the eyes open. You know, one of my favorite sayings, as anybody knows, is spiritualists do it with the lights on. You know, in terms of our services, you know, it's nice to have mood lighting and it can be nice and warm, but we also want to be seen as being out in the open and public and free of, you know, any attempt to kind of look spooky. So I always prefer to do it with the lights on, in terms of
Yeah.
mediumship anyway. But yeah, it is very much about that transition and practice of, okay, now my eyes are going to be half open. And that's actually what I used to do, funnily enough, thinking about it, when I was first developing and transitioning from eyes closed. And you'll see mediums when they're having a rough day, you know, me included. If I'm struggling with a link, just give me 1 second. You would understand. So it is that bounce back
Mm-hmm.
to the meditation style of working to then, okay, you stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there. Don't move. Don't go anywhere. Okay, thank you. Right, okay, there's a nice blank wall over there. You can hover over that. Right, okay. So what they're showing me right now, and it is that transition into that style of
Yeah.
working, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I do agree with Eunice because I can go for weeks and weeks and weeks without using clairvoyance or clairaudience at all.
Mm,
It's whatever sense that spirit person needs to get the information across to you. And it changes. Like we said earlier, it just flip flops between different types of whatever you're doing. It
yeah,
well, yeah, I'll show you what I was meaning and what I was thinking about and what I was, you know, and like you said, Nick, sometimes we don't quite get it and they've got to use a different sense because
yeah,
a lot of times if somebody says to me, actually, Tony, I don't understand that. Everything you've said up to now has been okay, but that I don't understand. I'll go back and I'll say, I'll close my eyes and I'm like, come on, try again. And they'll use a different sense or a different vision or a different visualization to get that across.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And you know what? It's funny, really, that and and this is not a detraction or a knock at all. It's kind of like a realization for me in what I'm about to mention. If you think about it, I don't know about you, Tony, but when I first started developing, and this shows how our way of life has changed and transitioned over the years. Um, oh yeah, yeah, you're right, Wayne. I put his father in the corner at Barroway Drove when I was giving his. I said, right, you stay over there. I actually told him to what's it over what's it and stay there because he was flirting with all of the other spirit people, if memory serves me. I'm pretty sure that was the case, wasn't it, Wayne? Or was he the one trying to help me and interfere? I can't remember which, but I'm pretty sure he was a flirt. But yeah, it's the way our way of life has changed. Back when I was first starting to develop, it was right. You work on your clairsentience, then you work on your clairaudience, and then you work on your clairvoyance.
yeah,
And if you're very lucky, it will become claircognizance. Well, now everyone's kind of jumping to claircognizance and wanting to go backward, when claircognizance was actually the aim, to not have to work for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's funny how things have changed, because spirit are actually pushing people more advanced more quickly these days. I personally find, anyway.
I do. I do.
And so we're wanting to jump backwards, when in actual fact that was part of the progression of development, not necessarily an end goal. But I like the people are saying, well, I've jumped to this, but I'd like to do that, because it shows that you want to see the whole picture, or as Lynn used to say, the whole Megillah, rather than, this one thing that you're doing, whether it's other people's end goal or not, wanting to actually take a step backwards along that path and say, well, I want to be able to use that. I want to be able to use that. As you said, it's a toolbox.
Yeah,
A carpenter doesn't just use a chisel. They'll have a hammer, they'll have a screwdriver, they'll have a saw, they'll have a whittler. All of these tools, one works for one job better than the other. So if you add to your arsenal, you're actually
yeah.
doing good. And wanting to, really, really brilliant. So yes, we'll do that on Monday.
But what I would say is, for some people, they don't get it. It doesn't happen. I
Yeah,
know a medium that has not had clairaudience for years. They just don't use it with her. So
yeah,
if it doesn't, don't beat yourself up,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's the message that's the important bit, that not the how they've got it to you. It's the message, and as long as you're bringing comfort and solace to people, job done.
Yeah. At the end
As
of the
Al
day, you
Garland would
don't.
say, "Ding dong, darling."
Absolutely. At the end, you're absolutely right, Tony, because at the end of the day, you wouldn't reject a meal if you were hungry based on the colour of the plate.
No, no.
You could have a nice white plate, or a nice, what is it that she likes, with a periwinkle?
Oh,
Uh,
Royal Doulton. Royal
Royal
Doulton.
whether it's whitened from Argos, or white from Wilkinson's, or patterned and Royal Doulton with a hand painted periwinkle, if you're hungry, you're still going to eat that food off that plate.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is very much about what you're giving rather than how you get it. But it is useful to have all three different plates depending on your audience.
Mm.
Uh,
Yes, it
as
is.
she would point out, she'd never give on her hand painted periwinkle.
No,
Um,
no, no,
I personally wouldn't give Onslow my hand painted periwinkle either. Um,
no.
but there we go. So I hope again that answers that. We also have another question which I thought was actually a really, really interesting one from Daniel. I have a question for you both. What is the oldest spirit you have had come to you? As in, how many years ago they passed? In other words,
Ooh.
which spirit have spoken to you or got in contact with you has been in the universe the longest?
Ooh. I mean, I've had a Victorian lady come through before, um, but to be honest, I don't know. I because they don't always give me that sense of how long they've been there. Um, yeah, I've had a Georgian guy, um, but yeah, that is interesting.
Now, you're thinking in terms of communicating on behalf of spirit. What about in terms of communicating for yourself, in terms of getting to know the people that you work with, or meeting other people's guides, that kind of?
Actually, I have got a guide who's never come to Earthplane, so they've been there from forever because
Yeah,
that spirit's never been physical.
absolutely.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So a one
It
that's
depends.
been there forever. It depends how you look at it, what your
Yes.
perception of it is.
And as always, when it comes to perception, when you look at things from a different angle, you get a better view. And
Yes,
yes, That is French Connection, by the way, not anything else. And yeah, I'll be honest with you. Oh,
Ooh, oh, ooh, ooh. No, is an answer to that one.
When it comes to evidential mediumship and providing a message that is provable, absolutely, because they wouldn't know anything about them. However, I have had people from my family that have come through um, that have not been within the living memory of me, but I've had stories passed on to me about them. So, for instance, I've had messages from a relative that I never met. So certainly isn't within my memory, but is within the living memory of those that I interact with on the earth plane, like for instance my uncle. I've had messages given, and we've actually gone and traced this person in our family tree that have given us that information to find that person in the family tree that is not within living memory of everyone or of anyone on the earth plane. Like, for instance, great great uncle Charlie, Charlie Wharf. I've had information about him that has led me to find more stuff about him. But certainly when it comes to flipping the paradigm, I love that phrase, by the way. It's my new go-to. When it comes to flipping the paradigm, to going to the people that I work with and that we all work with, and this is I really want to make this clear. Um, Everyone has a group of spirit that they work with. Whether they get to know them, Eunice, is entirely the choice of the medium, either as an individual or as simply that feeling that you know it's them and that you trust them. That is at the choice of the medium. But every single person has got a group of spirit that they work with. And if you do choose to get to know them, some of them will not be able to show themselves as they were on this earth plane because we have a mix: relatives, friends, people who are like us and interested in our progression as a human being or development as a medium, who from anywhere in history really, they've just noticed us because we've got something in common with them. They get drawn to us. But there are those that do not and are not able to identify as a physical human being because exactly what Tony said there, they have never touched the earth plane. Their spiritual energy, their breaking off from the Great Spirit has already happened. They're part of the universe, but they've never actually chosen to be here. Everyone will have people like that within their group of spirit, which is why if they are the ones that are front and center, that's why people don't always believe that they've got guides working with them because they've got no physical human reference to provide. A really good example of a being like that is actually White Feather,
Yes.
the trance medium or the trance spirit of Maurice Barbanel. The teachings of Silver Birch is the same. So you've got White Feather, you've got White Eagle, and you've got Silver Birch. Now, absolutely adamantly, Silver Birch is on record as saying, I was never a Native American. It's in the first chapter of the teachings of Silver Birch. I was never a Native American. I've never touched the earth plane. So I have been around a long time. People have spoken to me before, but not in this form. This is a new way that you would understand me better. And so everyone has the ability to speak to a spirit person that is beyond physical time, therefore eternal.
Yeah.
So I
Which
completely
links
agree.
straight to Daniel's point there.
Um,
Do you think spirit could be life that hasn't walked it? Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. Like I said, one of my team hasn't been a physical person on Earth. Now, I'm not sure, and I've not had the conversation with them yet, whether they were lost in the womb or if they just didn't have a physical form at all and has never been here. It's not something they want to share with me yet, but
Absolutely.
it is possible. It is possible.
Absolutely. But yeah, as far as what Kai said, um, the age of spirit, those who are within living there, for evidence purposes, and most of the time off of the platform, absolutely yes. But
Yeah,
in terms of the people that we have watching over us and guiding us, um, the same answer applies to how long does it take for someone to come through from spirit after they've passed. 5 minutes to 5,000 years, depends on the individual.
yeah, yeah,
Another comment
absolutely.
here from Eunice. I had a message at Littleport from a spirit who had passed 60 years previously, and it was the first time he had come through. He had a message for me to pass on to his family.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well reminded, dear mother. My spirit babies come through. They never touch the earth plane. They have not only come through to mother, they've come through to me, they've come through to my sister, and in one instance, you know what I was saying about physically showing themselves? One of them did that to my niece once and held
wow.
a towel. Shall I tell you the story? Because this is,
Come
I
on.
say, I say we don't do spooky, but come on, this is spooky 101, right? My niece was home alone. She was about 16 years old, and she was in her goth phase. So she was around about 16, 17, and she was home alone having a shower, and she had just finished and put a hand out to grab the towel. It wasn't there. Did exactly the same as any rational person would. It must have fallen onto the floor. So she pulled the curtain aside, leant down to the floor where it would have landed, and it wasn't there. And she's like, what? And the natural thing to do is look up to see whereabouts it's fallen to. You know, it fell off before you got in and you accidentally kicked it across the room, that kind of thing. No, it was nowhere on the floor. It was being held up to her by someone that turned out to be her auntie in spirit, my sister Lucy.
Wow.
Gotta be honest, she did what I would have done. Freaked out. Um, phone to mother, phone to me, mother phoned me. They went down, calmed down, and I was like linking in. Who the hell is it? Who are that? Oh, it's Lucy. Okay, because Lucy had then come to me and said, "I was trying to cheer her up. I didn't realise I'd upset her." So
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Well,
really, really well. Not
cool.
for her,
Yeah.
but it is now as a story to tell.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
5 minutes
Yeah.
to 5,000 years and beyond is
Yeah.
what I would say complete.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, oh, I think we've worn everybody out. There's
I
nothing.
think we have. Everyone's gone quiet. I don't
They
think
have.
we've frozen. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. Oh, here we go. Right, excellent. So, Kai, re Elder Spirit, Nick, you connected my. Wow, there you go. So re Elder Spirit, in terms of the Earth plane and messaging. Thank you, Kai. That's awesome. Um, the Elder Spirit, Nick, you connected with my great gran who passed in 1963. She was actually born in the 1880s. Wow, thank you for that. Um, See, once again, when we're communicating in terms of mediumship and passing it on, we sometimes get an age, but I don't know about you, but I don't think about when they were born because most of the time it's adulthood up to passing. So we
Yeah.
tend to think in term. I would have certainly been thinking in terms of the 60s when I was communicating, not thinking this person would have been in their teens at the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
oh, you catch up on replay, Jen, and I will try and find that funny video that I sent to you in a different format and to you later. Um, Ruth says, great story though. We have visits on. Yes, our automatic lights come on the stairs. Now this is right. I've been there. I've been there. Um, Not while the lights have come on, but I've identified and been with and spoken to who's been doing it, the naughty what's it. Um, Ruth and her family have visitors come on their staircase.
Oh,
They've got these, like you can have in public places and businesses to save money, the automatic lights that come on and off.
yeah,
So
we have
you
them on our
detect,
stairs.
yeah, so you detect motion, they come on, and then 2-3 minutes later they come off. They were having that happen on their stairway.
Wow.
This family. Um, Absolutely amazing stuff. When you're okay with dealing with that, then it's great stuff. It can be very nerve-wracking and off-putting and scary when you don't understand it. My development within this way of life could have potentially been 10 years earlier if it hadn't have been for the fact that what I was experiencing as a teenager freaked me out. Um, so we do have to be aware of that and put them in their place if they do scary stuff.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they don't meet like with my little sister Lucy. I call her little sister. She's older than me. But like with Lucy, um, she didn't realizing she didn't realize that it was scary. She was trying to say hello. That was it. But we can perceive it as being quite scary. And 9 times out of 10, I found that's the reason people get spooky, scary, call in the exorcist moments. It's
Yeah.
actually just wanting to say hello. And as Ruth said, it was for Noah back then. Absolutely, yes. Um,
Excellent question from Paul. Oh, that's I
yeah,
spotted that. That's lovely.
yeah. My surrogate baby came through, which I find lovely, as I was the only the oven when I was pregnant with the twins. But of course, biologically you're still mum. Biologically and spiritually, there's still that blending and that connection. So surrogate or not, you're still part of their life and their soul.
Mm.
So absolutely beautiful. And yes, excellent question here. Does spirit ever put you on a break, or do you know if you need the break?
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah.
Back in 2017, I had a problem with my chest. I was quite poorly for nearly 3 weeks, all in all, and they just disappeared, vanished into the ether, and it felt like I had an arm lopped off. I felt like there was something missing. They popped back now and again just to check I was okay and to see everything was all right, but they just disappeared, and they know when you need the break, because I wouldn't admit I needed the rest,
Yeah.
but they did, and they went, "No, we'll talk to you later."
Yeah. Absolute.
Um, and also, there was a period where I worked with Spirit for so long. It was 2 or 3 services a week, sit-ins, other stuff, online stuff that I was doing at the time, and they just went, "You're burning out." No, and they backed off.
Yeah.
So they will come back if that's how it is for you at the minute. They will come back. It's just the saying to you, you need to focus on you for something at the moment.
Yes. Completely agree. Sometimes it can be mutually appreciated. Sometimes it can be enforced. I had an enforced break during my development of a number of years, actually, um, because I was not doing it for the right reasons. I was doing it because I felt I had to, rather than doing it because I wanted to. Um, I used to get oh, take care, darling. Be good. Trudy's got a
Yes.
dash. See,
Bye.
see you soon, sweetie. Um, I, yeah. Sometimes it can be enforced, and certainly it was for me. Um, the thing is, I was doing it because I felt I had to. rather than because I wanted to, and that's never a good thing.
No, no.
In terms of being shut down for that break, it is about making sure that you are living your life. And again, I know I harp on this, but this is why it's useful to have a good relationship with guides. When I take a break spiritually now, I still have contact with my guides because it's this mutually agreed right. Do not work, have a break. But I've still got them to talk to and have a chat with. And it's because, they want you to enjoy what you're doing. They want it to be an enjoyable experience. And if they see that it's not, off. No more. Stop. I used to get in trouble a lot in my early development because I was one of these whatsits that would never shut off from spirit. So, when people talk about linking in and linking out and grounding and all of this, that the minute I linked in to spirit to the minute I was completely shut down, I was permanently connected to spirit. They were interacting in my physical life. People would come up to me and say, your spirit friends. Yeah, they say this. Do you ever shut? No, I don't. And
Yeah.
to an extent, I still don't. However, I've got a dimmer switch. So when I'm working, dimmer goes up to full power. When I'm not working and it's just for me, I bring it down a few levels. And so it's just me and my guides, and all and sundry isn't dipping in as and when they want to. Because
Yeah.
I love my relationship with my guides, and they will push me in the right direction when needed. Oh, okay. So have you done anything in the house today? Have you actually eaten? Have you actually spoken to a living, physical, breathing human being? Okay. See you later. We're going for lunch. And so, because I've got that relationship, we do kind of fade in, fade out. But they will stop me from working if I'm overdoing it and for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And absolutely, that there is the best advice I could give to anybody.
Yeah.
It is about finding a balance, and I find my guides help me with that balance of permanently being connected to spirit without overdoing it.
Which I think goes to what Luke and Paul were saying, that they've been working non-stop with spirit. So I think they're saying, hang on, where's the you time in all of this?
And I think people tend to forget the importance of you time, not just in terms of your own physical need, but in terms of being a good medium. Because if you do not have physical experience, if you do not live your life, you're losing the reference points and the focal points that spirit can use to give you more information.
Yeah.
For example, if I were to have been brought up in a convent, um, people might laugh, but that could have very well been a thing. Mum wanted to be a nun. But if I'd have been brought up in a convent, I would have no reference to the real world, the physical world. And so I could only speak in terms of what I understand. But if you're out there living your life, doing the mundane, doing the day to day, enjoying yourself, then you will get more information through more naturally because they've got more reference to use. Plus, you are being you.
Yeah.
So it is part of development to not work with spirit, to live your life.
Yeah.
And we sometimes, as mentors and as mediums, forget that because we get carried away with the moment.
We do. Mum asked, do you switch off if you visit a cemetery? No.
No, it's the quietest place to be if you're a medium. No one's there.
It is. It is. They're all off seeing the family. And Daniel's asked, what's the difference between mediumship and clair? For me, mediumship is the delivering of information from the world of spirit. The clair audience, voyance, sentience, cognizance, is how the information gets to you. So it's the visual impressions, the auditory sounds, the smells, the senses, the feelings that go with it to make that message for you to deliver. And mediumship is just linking into that and opening up the channel to feed that information through and to give it to. And when you get to South Yorkshire again, Daniel, pop over, we'll have a coffee and we'll have a chat and see what we can do.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Mediumship is the pie. The clairs are the ingredients that make up the pie. For me, I mean, if we look at what these words actually mean, mediumship used to be described as being asensitive. I loved that word. We should use it more often. Someone wasn't a medium, they were a sensitive. Sensitive to what? The clairs. And clair literally means clear. So if you take that favourite popular one, clairvoyance, you know, everyone's seen the advert for an evening of clairvoyance. That clairvoyance literally means clear seeing. Clear, voyance, seeing. So it's clear seeing, clear hearing, clear feeling, clear knowing. So it is that method, and that's all clair means. It means clear. So, you know, all of the difference and none of the difference, really, because they are the ingredients that make up the pie that you're eating. It's the second time this week I've used that analogy. I mean, earlier on in the week it was a loaf of bread.
We're on. No bother, mate. That's
Sweet.
fine. Yep.
Absolutely.
Grief. It's been an hour and 13 minutes, mister.
I know. Well,
how did that happen?
They do say when we get flapping our gobs, we never stop, you know.
No, that's true. That's very, very true.
But I hope everyone has enjoyed our afternoon together. I hope that we have all worked together to learn new things. I know I have, and I hope you've all enjoyed our afternoon together. And the discussion, the debate, and being part of it is absolutely the thing. We are gonna start wrapping up now, as we frequently do, around about 5:15. Sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's 100 years before we actually get offline. But it's been an absolute pleasure. And again, Tony, it's so good to be back with you on my Friday afternoon.
Oh, it is. It's glad to be. I'm glad to be back and to be able to speak.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I think before we go, I should have a turn on top.
Go on then. Oh yeah, Daniel's got puppies. Daniel's got little puppies.
Congratulations, puppies.
Little Frenchy puppies.
Oh, we do like a little French puppy. We like all sorts of puppies, actually. They're cute and soft and cuddly. And I love it when they're, oh, hi, Lilybell. Oh, your timing sucks, love. We're about to go. I'll give you a reminder next time. But yeah, I love puppies with the fact that their feet, like with humans grow into their head. With puppies, it's their feet. So there's huge paws and tiny little legs and bodies. I'm getting all soppy again. I've got to stop doing things like that. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you all for your engagement, your questions, your conversations. It's been a bit of an all-rounder today, hasn't it?
It's been a real mixed bag. It's been wonderful as always.
I do like a mixed assortment. Oh, thank you, Daniel's going to send me a pic. Oh,
they're cute.
But thank you all. This is Reverend Nick Brown saying thank you for your time and hope you've all had a good afternoon. Enjoy your weekends. I will just say, Lilybell, you can watch on catch up and not miss a thing. Cherry Ann is still feeling like a marshmallow. I do know exactly what you mean. Um, pleasure as always. Yeah,
Yes.
see you on catch up. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wonderful evening. Thank you very much, everybody, and we shall see you this time next week.
absolutely will. So, from all of us here to all of you there, goodbye and God bless.
Goodbye.